For 2 months, Chileans have been protesting all over the country on a daily basis. The country has seen mass movements and protests over a wide range of issues for a number of years, but now, demonstrators have been demanding an overhaul of the South American nation's very foundations. On December 15th, hundreds of thousands across the country went to the polls in a non-binding vote organized by the Chilean Association of Municipalities to ask Chileans whether they want a new constitution, among other issues. Thousands voted in the southern city of Valdivia, the only regional capital whose right-wing mayor decided to boycott the vote. Sebastián Guzmán was among those who voted regardless.
One can just not do anything. Each person contributes in the way that they want, in the way they can. So if we can contribute to the movement just by voting, cool.
The initial protests over transit fare increases in Santiago, which began on October 18th, have shifted to a demand to remake the 1980 Constitution, which was passed by the military regime of Augusto Pinochet. The right-wing dictatorship made Chile the laboratory for neoliberalism, initiating a series of free market reforms following its bloody 1973 coup against Salvador Allende's socialist government. Critics, like Valdivia City Councilor Pedro Muñoz, say Pinochet's constitution insulate these reforms and the neoliberal model from change that people want.
Esa constitución política que se hizo entre cuatro paredes en dictadura no aseguraba derechos sociales.
The political constitution that was drafted behind closed doors during the dictatorship did not guarantee social rights. That began to generate accumulating unrest, where underneath the apparent stability in our country, many people were just surviving and struggling to make ends meet, without any guarantees for education, healthcare, or any kind of social security, as well as pensions that are not enough to get by on.
The December 15th consultation was called for in response to the protests that have shaken the Andean country. Over 2/3 of Chile's 346 municipalities participated in the consultation. But in Valdivia, the mayor's office said that the municipality would not take part. Alexis González, spokesperson for Valdivia Decide, was among the hundreds of residents who organized the referendum locally in spite of the lack of institutional support.
Mira, la verdad es que esto es parte de un proceso que es nacional, que empezó con un movimiento el 18 de octubre, en donde la gente...
This is part of a national process, which began with the movement on October 18th, where people demand more participation and demand more decision-making power. It's not enough just to vote. Today, we also have to make decisions. And as citizens, we agreed to generate this instance and consult if people want a new constitution, what the mechanism should be, as well as consult on national issues regarding social justice, local issues, and gather the opinions and decisions of the people.
Voters as young as 14 were given 3 ballots, asking Chileans about their views on the need for a new constitution and the method for drafting it, as well as the issues they wanted to see prioritized, such as healthcare and education. Though he is far from retirement, Sebastián is worried about the private pension system, which has much of Chile's seniors barely scraping by.
Principalmente el tema de que no haya más AFP.
Mainly, the elimination of private pension plans. There can't be a system that dictates the conditions of how you will age and decides how you will survive.
The protests have been met with severe repression from the government of President Sebastián Piñera, including over 24 deaths and over 1,000 injured. Some 350 people have received eye injuries from police fire, 25,000 people have been detained. The protests forced Chile's legislators to eventually sign a controversial agreement for a constitution referendum to be held in April 2020. Citizens will be asked whether a process to draft a new constitution should be initiated. If Chileans approve, the election for those who will be charged with drafting the constitution will take place in October 2020, a full year after the protests. Distrustful of the timelines and the secretive nature of the agreement, thousands have continued to take to the streets. Over 2 million Chileans voted in the consultation, with some 90% calling for a new constitution. More than 19,000 voted in Valdivia, far more than the number of votes obtained by the mayor, Omar Sabat, who declined participation in the consultation. For Gloria, in the Valdivia sector of Niebla, the long lineups and strong participation is indicative of what is happening in the country as a whole.
Bueno, acá en realidad la motivación está. Y la juventud.
There is a lot of motivation here, and a lot of that is due to youth participation. They are promoting and setting up activities, and I think we are on the right path, because the people are coming together and uniting. which is exactly what we need.
Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it. But do us one more solemn favor. Hit the subscribe button below. You know you want to. Stay up on the videos.